So one of the easiest ways you can start creating your own personalized chart is to identify and create your own levels of support and resistance on a given asset. And this is particularly helpful in that it can help you visualize what range an asset may move within and allow you to better determine potential buy-in or sell-in prices instead of just rolling the bones, so to speak, rolling the dice and seeing where whatever happens. You can start to visualize the market and see, all right, well, this level, it looks like there's some resistance there. That's probably not the best place to buy. If I want to buy the asset, it might be a better place to sell the asset, and I could buy back in at a lower price where I see that there's a level of support. So doing this, it's important to first identify what time frame you wish to base your charting on, as different time intervals may indicate different levels of support and resistance. It's recommended to start with higher time frame levels such as the daily or the weekly and work your way down if necessary. Once again, we have a lesson on time frames and particularly time intervals. So if you are interested in learning more about how to understand time frames and how to use different time frames, be sure to check that out. Now, when drawing lines of support or resistance, ideally we want to place the horizontal line at a price point that we see price action come down or come up to. We want to see price action touch and bounce off that level at least 3 times. The more touches or bounces and the longer that price level is unbroken, the more significant we can consider that level. We can consider that very powerful or significant level over time. And here's a tip. You may want to turn on magnet mode so that your drawings will snap to the open, high, low close values, OHLC, of whatever candle you are hovering over. This may help your accuracy when placing lines. So here's our chart example. This is Bitcoin on Bitcoin to US dollar. This is the daily chart. Each one of these candles represents 1 day's worth of price action, whether it's up being green, down being red. What we want to start to do is start to lay out different levels of support and resistance. So first thing I want to do is I want to see, first of all, where am I? I'm currently over here. Bitcoin is currently $38,500, give or take. We see a particularly volatile candle, rather large, long wick below, indicating that price opened here, fell down a significant amount, and then came back up, and then arose above that that opening and above the current price. The price hasn't closed yet. The candle hasn't closed yet because the day is still occurring, the most present day on February 24th. But let's see. So if I wanted to start to lay out horizontal lines so I can indicate levels of support and resistance, I can go over to TradingView on this left side and click on this level that says trend line. So I'm going to click on this arrow. If I hover over on the right side, and I'll see these options, trend line, arrow, etc. What I'm looking for is horizontal line. And once I click on that, my cursor might change. And what I could do is I can pinpoint a level that I want to, that I think is significant, and I want to see if it correlates with anything else on the rest of the chart. So particularly here, we saw Bitcoin fall down to this lower wick, and for some reason it bounced back up. So let's see if this is any important. I'm going to place a line right there, right where I'm going to line that up right there. And to make this easier, what I like to do is, I'm just going to delete this for a second. What I like to do is on the left side here, where this magnet is, this is magnet mode. And this allows you to, whenever you are placing a drawing or placing one of these lines, as you can see, instead of me having to manually pinpoint where the line stops or where the bottom of the wick is, instead with magnet mode, the cursor will automatically snap to the lowest open, high, low, and close. So either the bottom of the wick, let me see if I can zoom in, either the bottom of the wick the lower half of the body, the top half of the body, or the top wick. And this allows you to be very accurate with your line placements, and it just makes charting a whole lot easier generally. So here is 34K. We'll say the bottom was $34,322. We could say just 34K just to keep it round and consistent numbers. So we'll place our line there. And as you can see, here's our line. Let's see how significant was this level. Well, if we zoom in here, turn off auto for a second. We zoom in here, price did come down and ultimately respected this level. Yes, there was a wick below it, but there was no significant candle close, right? It was just a small wick below, which I would consider this level still valid. So 34K already seems to be a consistently valid price level, even in more recent times itself. Here's another instance. This was in the last time we were at these price levels. It looks like it was in the summer of 2021. So May, June, and into July. So what did price do here? Lots of wicks below, 1, 2, 3. But if we notice, significant candle closes above this level or right at the level. Here we see it. We also see it here as well. Here is a significant candle close. Price, the next candle, interestingly enough, has a very small body and particularly a long bottom wick. So price did fall below and fell to about 31,000, but ultimately the next day the candle opened below the line and came back up. So this level is significant, right? And there was lots of volatility here, a period of consolidation, a slight dip below to about 30,000, and then the overall reversal to the upside, coinciding with the second part of the 2021 bull run. Even before this, let's see. Here's another instance. So price struggled to overcome this meaningfully. We see one touch, particularly on this candle. Price comes up with this wick, falls back down, right? There's a rejection ultimately because price closed. Let me zoom in a little bit more. Price closed. Here we go. Price on January 3rd, 2021, price came up to a high of $34,810, slightly above the line, ultimately came back down, closed below, and the next candle we see price tried to rise a little bit again after the open, but ultimately fell a significant amount. This is a pretty big range on this candle, from a high of $33,666 to a low of $27,667. So let's see, from the high to the low, that's about a 17%, 18% change just in one day, just in 24 hours. So there's a lot of movement and a significant rejection at this level. Price ultimately did come up above it, and as we see, this level does show significant amounts as support, right? And it's not just as resistance, but this is just a significant level altogether, right? And so if we take a look at the big picture, at just all of this together, all of Bitcoin's price history, we can confidently say, well, there's a reason why this level acted as the bottom for this particular drop. There was a serious downtrend, price came down, bounced off of here, and then rose about $3,000, give or take $3,400 per Bitcoin at this level. All right, so next, let's say, so this is our bottom, right? And we're currently here. We want to see, all right, well, where could we go to next? So if our high is 39,720, if we want to, we could place another line, right? We could place a line. Let's say if we place the line at the top. Well, now we're starting to get a clearer image of what's going on. We see significant level of support here, As price came down, touched, it almost looks like price action slowed down, because look at the size of these candles, very small sizes, and just generally indicating that there was a slowdown in that momentum and that volatility as price reached this level, this bottom level. I mean, this is 39K. We could argue it's 40K if we want to just keep a solid number or a definite number. We see a wick come down here, particularly, and ultimately a rejection back to the upside. So this is a level of support. Once again, more support, instances of support. This whole range, we could say, is here. Price overseas comes up. This is a level indicates a level of resistance. Price finally overcomes, falls below, and then uses it as support to continue onward in August. And we generally see more instances of this level acting as resistance in May and June, right? So this is pretty significant. Even looking back as far as January 2021, we do see more levels of resistance overall. Price comes up to about 40K, reaches highs of 41,986, and then ultimately is rejected to the downside. Now we see that this level held as support generally. Price comes back up, was rejected again, price comes back down. Price came up a little bit again, but didn't necessarily produce that higher high and ultimately fell below the support level. Now this level acts as resistance. It's pushing through, it breaks past. We see a struggle here. It wasn't just a clean break in terms of price action here. Price came up, it came back down. Then the next candle, we see a massive push upwards, particularly a rather large candle. So this was a sign that they took a significantly large amount of buyers or buying pressure to really overcome this level. So now that we've mapped this out, we can really have a better idea of not only general levels of the Bitcoin chart, but really where we are in the current time, at least at the time of the recording. And using this same technique, you can really map out where you are in terms of what's going on in the market at the time that you're looking at it, and really having a much clearer idea of, hey, where could we realistically go in the short term?